This is International Forum. We'll dive in this straight down rather into the discussion for today. Well, it's all about the summits, China summits, where you have big countries. Some might say North Korea is beginning to pull their weight, hence they can be considered as allies of the opposing country, so to speak, in world economics, world politics, you just name it. North Korea, India, Russia going over to meet China, talking about the president and prime minister coming together to discuss the way forward. Some are saying this is a slap or a slight to the US, and US should be where it's like four countries, great leaders coming together to stand in opposition to what the US is doing. Some call them the balancing force of planet Earth. Others call them the distortive or destructive force of balance on Earth. What do you feel about that? Joining us virtually, all the way from Use, yeah, a political analyst, political affairs commentator, a politician, an entrepreneur. Join me to welcome Paul Ogido Ahiwisi. It's a pleasure to have you join us, though virtually. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilson. God bless you. It's my pleasure being with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Paul. All right, with me here in the studio, I have Honorable Frank Amigo. Yes, the lecturer at the University of Benin. It's a pleasure to have you join us this afternoon, Honorable.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And of course, I have a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, Barrister Henry was. Barrister, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's actually been a while. The street has not been friendly, as it were.
You keep saying street, you're a legal practitioner. You guys have this soft life.
That is the way you look at it from the outside. Viewers at home, it is an opportunity to be back. Good to see you all again.
All right. Well, let's start the discussion with Honorable Frank Kamego. What do you feel about this summit? Did you expect it to happen so soon? Now, they have one thing at the back of their mind, building a viable economy, building a viable political, how will I put it now, algorithm, so to speak, or synergy, everything about the world just to make four of these countries stronger, to at least stand on their own, independent of the West vis-a-vis the U.S.
Yes, in a way, I like their clamor of sovereignty. I want to believe that's the essence of the summit. The summit started, this is 25th that I just heard, and China has hosted, this is the fifth time they are hosting. It started since 2001, and there are 10 of them, 10 countries that make up the SCO. And there are still some other countries that were in attendance. Maybe they are warming up to also join. And what I see in that SCO group is that China, India, Russia, they are part of the 10. These three countries are also part of the BRICS.
Yes.
So I'm giving this background on the strength that the US president has to be very careful. It's not like you want to separate snake from its shell. The snake will die. So in an attempt for the snake not to die, there will be a kind of resistance. And that was what happened when India, despite the sanctions on Russia, they still went because they have a lot of things in common, from BRICS to SCO and all that. Nobody can separate them. So what they are doing in essence is to show some level of sovereignty, that US cannot just say a thing and to come to pass for or against us. So in a way, the American government has to be careful, because the way they are going, it will not spell peace for the world in its entirety. So they have the right to host that meeting, and as I said earlier on, it's been 25 years to date. The two-day summit that started on Sunday and climaxed yesterday, Monday, they arrived at so many things. I liked what Putin said, that the fight between Russia and Ukraine was precipitated by the US and other European countries. He tried to present some facts, but I still saw some holes in those facts. But the essence of it, as I've always known, personally, is because Ukraine is attempting or has attempted to join the NATO. And Russia, in particular the Putin, is not averse to it. Is averse to it, doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. And that is what led to all these wars here and there. So if US can be counseled that you don't fight somebody that has been in a covenant or in alignment or agreement with another nation, nobody can buy you from going to visit your friend. India is a friend to Russia. So if you place whatever sanctions on Russia, and you say all his friends should not go near it, it is not possible.
All right. All right. I'll come back to Honorable. Well, Barrister, what do you feel about this alliance? Some are saying that this alliance might just eventually shape the world, taking out massive power from the U.S.
Well, to me, it will not take massive power from U.S. as it were, but actually it will reset the world and it put the world in the right shape that we will begin to see a situation whereby their dominance by America as a world power will be curtailed to a certain extent because of this alliance you have with these groups, as it were. But again, you look at it from another angle. Apart from the economic side of it, China is using it as an avenue to show that their military might. To me, they want to show by tomorrow. Till tomorrow is Wednesday. They will be, showcasing their weapons as well as their soldiers to show the extent at which they are prepared at any point in time to challenge any nation that tries to trample on them. So I am not only seeing it as coming together of these countries, both politically, economically, as well as an opportunity to establish the fact that they can match America as well as the West when it comes to the issue of power. That is the point I look at it from.
All right, let's get to hear from Honorable Paul Ohido. Well, you've seen these three great nations, but there is one odd one in quotes right now, North Korea joining the bandwagon. What do you feel about this, Honorable Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. My regards once more to the gentleman in the studio. I think the SCO is one of the best things happening to the global south at the moment. The cooperation is one that check the shenanigans of the West. And when I say the West, America in particular. We have seen in recent times, since the coming on board of Donald Trump, the slamming of tariffs on all exports of these nations, including Africa, Nigeria not excluded. And this cooperation that have taken off some years back is now taking the bull by the horn. These are sovereign nations. They are only this cooperation will go a long way to prove to the West that they don't call the shots always. Things are changing. The global economic dynamics and political dynamics are changing. And the West just have to realize this. And that is the way to go. They are not just talking about economy, they're talking about political power, defense. All these are entrenched in what they are doing today. And it will go a long way to put the West on their toes, to know that these are sovereign nations. They also deserve to be respected. International diplomacy is about lobbying. It's about dialoguing. But what we see the West do is to lord it over all other nations that they think are far below and beneath them. With the coming of Donald Trump, with due respect to President Trump, he never regarded any other nation. The only nation he knows as supreme in the world is America, and he believes anything America says will always stand. This has shown in the dialogue between the Ukrainian Russian crisis. He boasted that in 10 days, Russia has to budge. And that didn't happen. Even after the meeting, immediately after the meeting, bombardment started. And it began. Till date, it's going on. So they have a right to hold this meeting. This SCO, this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is going to put a lot of check and balances on the excesses of the West.
All right. All right, thank you so much. I will come back to you, Honorable. I will definitely come back to you. He said is to check the excesses of the West vis-a-vis the U.S. How do you think this will happen?
Yes, in the first instance, it will check the excesses, and on the second part of it, for them to have expression. It's like you are bossed to the wall and you can't speak. Even when you make an attempt to speak, whatever thing you say, as it were, will look like it will be used against you. So, as I mentioned these three countries before, China, India, and Russia.
Don't forget North Korea.
North Korea. I'm looking at the BRICS. They are part of the formation. And there are 10 countries there.
But North Korea wasn't part of the BRICS.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm separating the three countries.
Okay.
China, India, and Russia. So they form the BRICS. There are 10 countries. And in the SCO, there are also 10. And these three countries are also there, China, India, and Russia. In other words, there's a message they want to pass across to the world. The SCOA does not have any African presence. But in the BRICS, some African nations are there. So there's an evangelism, if you allow me to use that word. There's an evangelism that is going around, trying to win nations as souls to understand what the American people are doing to this earth as a whole. So they want to review it. That's why we're having this summit. It's a security summit. They want to review it. It's not everything that you say that is correct. It's just like you say 1 + 1 is 30. Instead of looking at the validity of the answer, you're asking who said it. He said Donald Trump. Okay, if it's Donald Trump, it's correct. So that they want to change the dynamics. And in changing the dynamics, the easiest way for them is to form the BRICS and now the SCO. I'm sure very soon Nigeria will join one of them. They will join because they are looking at Nigeria is also worst hit by all these American challenges. Everything you must buy in Naira. But you can't buy in Naira. Between Nigeria and Ghana, for instance, you must exchange in dollars. We don't use dollars here. So for you to make your currency to be prevalent and to be dominant in the world economy, it has to be challenged. I'm sure that is the reason. But if there's a hidden reason behind their motive, I wouldn't know. But if it's a time for American government now to come, call them, what are the gray areas so that we can streamline them or eradicate them to have a peaceful life on earth here. But American government is still thinking they're in charge until a time will come that becomes obvious to the whole world that America is no longer in charge.
All right.
So for these various countries to come together, it means they have a message. And there's no way we can try to discountenance it.
Okay.
They don't amount to anything. They amount to something.
So something. Now, if you take a look at India, they have the world's largest population right now, followed by China. And of course, you have Russia also. The very opposing U.S. have been strong on their own. These three countries as a whole, North Korea right now, because people know North Korea has been the trouble of the earth aside the Middle East, so to speak. But with all these alliances, do you think is going to shake the fabric of peace on planet Earth?
To me, it will not affect the peace on planet Earth. Rather, it will be able to reset the world into a form where there will be peace generally, because it acts as a check on the activities of the West. The West will now be able to understand that these SCO and others, they equally have a stake when it comes to the issue that borders on territorial integrity of every nation. Presently, Russia and Ukraine, they are at war. America has tried to see how it plays down the whole issue, but unfortunately, the war is still raging on. You also find out that accepted that India and China have borders issue, but today they are together. That is to tell you that the world itself, they are forming an alliance, trying to see how they can act as a check to what the West does. So to me, there will still be peace, because at each point, China, though trying to exhibit their military might, as it were, but at the same time, knowing fully well that America, no matter how strong you are, America still has the command or an upper hand when it comes to issues of this nature. So to me, it is both for political gain, it is both for economic gain, as well as an opportunity for those countries who before now never had it easy when it comes to the recent economic policies of Donald Trump. Because you see that Donald Trump, the taxes, as it were, has affected most countries, especially those of us in this part of the world.
All right.
It has affected us, as it were.
All right, Jocelyn, I want to go for a break. When we return, I'm going to throw the next question out on the report when we return after this break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. Now, moving on to where the report is standing by, people are of the opinion that with the formation of these countries coming together, the world will eventually be polarized. And the countries to really form the balance, or who eventually win this polarity, will come from the Middle East. As it stands right now, you have US, you have France, Italy, Germany on one side. On the other hand, you have China, India,
Asia,
Russia,
Middle East on one side.
BRICS, just, and the Middle East are just the one on their own for now. Except for Israel, think towards, US. Now, what do you feel about this arrangement? Do you feel that they want to be polarized, or it has been polarized already?
I'll tell you for free that it's polarized already. From what we are seeing right now, this is stemming down from the shenanigans of the West, as I've earlier said. The socio-economic and political dominance of the West, which is America per se, is giving rise to the polarization of the world itself. And if I have the right to say this, I will say that the Third World War is imminent, because there's going to be not just economic torso, but also supremacy, military minds, demonstration of military minds. Like my friend there rightly said, tomorrow, Wednesday, these countries will be showcasing their military minds by demonstrating the numerical strength of their army and the weaponry. And that is already throwing a challenge to the West, who will not sit back and fold his hands to watch. But let me say this as well. Like I said, that the power dynamics of the world is changing globally. It's changing. In this age and time, this is not when a world power like America will just wake up from the other side of his bed and just be creating and expect that it stands. Because those shenanigans are already fast eroding the integrity of other sovereign nations like China, Russia, India, and all these other countries. And the best thing to do is what they are doing right now, coming together to form a formidable force, so that the West that have lorded it over all, we know that things are changing. See, there is this thing the elders used to say in Benin Kingdom, that the lion and the tiger are lords in their own rings. They respect each other so that fights will not emerge. It is time that the West knows that these sovereign nations have their own integrity or their own territorial integrity to protect, because they are sovereign nations. For you to just wake up and say, military might, we have all the powers, economically, we have all the powers, we play this politics the way we like it, whether they like it or not, they dance to our tune. It is wrong. It is no longer going to work. And that is what the SCO stands for. Let's come together to form a formidable force to challenge this bully. The tariffs that have been slammed on all these nations, especially India, getting 50% tariff. That's a big challenge. And if you ask me, it's born out of villainy, out of, I don't want to use the word wickedness. It does not work that way. And this is what they stand to check. But whether the world is polarized or not, when the breeze blows, the dust will rise. But when it calms down, it will definitely settle down. So I commend what China and these other nations are doing so that there can be at least an alternative to the West. They are creating alternative to the West, and that is laudable.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, you heard him. He said Third World War is brewing. Some are saying it has started already through economic sanctions. Because some are saying warfare not about you carrying missiles or carrying bombs. That the war is already on, and US is the one that started the war, economic war. Take it up from there.
There's no war. There's no third war coming up at all. It's just that you are expressing yourself, and where I can envisage a war is I'm expressing my displeasure over your attitude towards me. By the time you raise your hand, will now likely determine maybe we're going to fight. But now we are still at the talking stage, so there's no war at all. I want to be sovereign, and sovereign is what I want. I want my sovereignty. So it's when the US government will say, you're only sovereign on paper. In reality, in principle, you are not sovereign. And that's one can begin to envisage maybe a third war. If, as US slammed tariff on India, you should not have any association with Russia again. And if India continues, the US doesn't have the right. Okay, anything you'll be giving to me, all this while, I don't want again. I will get it from the SEO or further back up from BRICS. I'll get it from them. So I don't have any business with you anymore. You can call it a sovereignty of divorce. I don't want you anymore. So it's only when US now insists that you go nowhere, that's what we're going to envisage it. But as it stands now, the US government has not said anything. All the while that Donald Trump and Putin had several meetings through phone calls or physical meetings, Putin never mentioned the remote or immediate cause of the war between itself and Ukraine. But it was at this meeting, Sunday and Monday, that he said it. It was the posture of the US trying to drag Ukraine into joining NATO. We never said that before Donald Trump. So now they want freedom of expression. And the only platform that can give them that freedom of expression is through the BRICS and the SCO. And they are using it. It's only when the US government says that the meeting, the SCO is proscribed, BRICS proscribed, then they will challenge that authority. But there's nothing envisaging or trying to portray that SCO or BRICS is illegal. So in a way, the US government respects their rights and their sovereignty along that line. But the further respect, you cannot determine who I trade with. You cannot determine who becomes my friend. That if I greet Wilson next time, they will give me food to eat. And Wilson has enough food. So don't give me the food. Wilson can I come and say, yes, okay, I get the food. So if I also personally challenge, because I don't so much understand it, why we'll be trading on dollars. I don't understand it. Is between the buyer and the seller. If we agree, give me 50 calories for a tuber of yam. If that's okay by you as a seller, then the buyer will go ahead. Not that this must be the currency. The US dollar is not a worldwide currency. Every nation has its own currency, except they have decided to be using the dollars. So that's why a lot of countries are impoverished today, because of that singular act of using dollar to trade. If you look at it holistically, what is America producing? What are they producing? They can't even do anything against China, because most of their production sites are in China. So if they want to launch out a third world war, is that you are shooting yourself by yourself and you sustain all the injuries. I don't think it leads to a third world war, because America, a lot of things that are produced, even your phone, they say made in China. Just check it. Even the battery made in Taiwan, because they have the population, they have the market by extension. So it's for US to understand the feelings of these various countries. This is even the right time for the Donald Trump to even ask them, can I join you in your meeting? Let's brainstorm. Otherwise, more associations will be formed. BRICS is there, SCO is there. Who knows the third grouping that will be formed? Maybe by then, Nigeria would have been fully involved. They have annexed some parts of Africa. So far, there's no West African country that is in the BRICS. Maybe they're looking for ways to extend it. And if it now appears that only US is standing alone, it becomes a major challenge. So, but still, there will be no third world war.
Over now to you, drawing a lead from what Honorable Paul said. He said like third world war is brewing because tomorrow, yes, it's going to be display of weapons by these countries. Come on, this one is showcasing or brandishing his weapon. I don't think it's a challenge to the other party. After all, what we have it also. We won't have much more.
Well, to me, I will not see a third world war in quotes, because when you talk of war, it might be economic, might be social, might be political, depending on that goal at which you look at it. But war, stricto sensu, in terms of combat, exchange of weapons and others, it will not come. The essence of exhibiting their weapons as well as their soldiers is to show that they also have what it takes at any point in time to be there for themselves and for those who are around them, which you can see from what is happening in Russia and Ukraine today. Russia came to Ukraine with the impression that in the next 10 hours, Ukraine must have been overrun. But today we are counting years, as it were. So when you talk about war, as it were, Israel attacked the Palestinians over the issue of the Hamas, as it were. Today, the war is still on, to tell you that it's not something you will just start and it will end, as it were. Though presently there is economic war in terms based on the fact of the way Donald Trump has handled issues in terms of his taxes, which he has placed on these countries. Nigeria as a nation is suffering it, as it were. India has over 50% in terms of their products, but that has not removed completely the relationship. That has not changed the relationship between these countries and America, or the West, as it were, because the business continues. If you put a tariff of 50% on me, most probably the thing you are bringing into my country, I may decide to put 30% or 25%. And as it were, it has been going on like that. So to me, the only war we witness is the economic war. The economic war in the sense that every nation now will want to sit up and will try to do things right and be able to look at the area where they have comparative advantage. Because what is making most countries rely on America, as it were, is that they believe that everything comes from that part of the world. But today, China can stand anywhere and challenge anybody in the world. Most of the products you have all over the world are produced from China. depending on the standard you want. Because if you go to America today, the products are from China, but it is the standard you want. Quite unlike us in this part of the world, where our people will go there and tell China, produce the least quantity, even if it is one day, my people will use it and go. But the products they take to America are products that they will meet the standard required. So every country in the world needs one another, one way or the other, to ensure that the world gets a better place for all of us to live. So to me, the issue, the only war we are expressing now, which is ongoing and which will continue to go on to a particular level until every country is able to stabilize itself, is the economic war. But the war, as is the world war, it will not come. Notwithstanding that they are going tomorrow, Wednesday, China is going to display its military might. The essence of it is for, North Korea, India, as well as Russia. All these are countries, one way or the other, they have been in one war or the other with their neighboring countries, as it were. So China, it is an avenue for China to make sales of that which they have, manufactured all this while that they have not used. You will probably see that the one they gave to Russia during this period of this war with, was not the ones they sold or the ones they even gave out for them to use. So to me, it is a good thing that this meeting is coming, because at the end of the day, just as Jinping said, it will help to reset the world that the West will not be seeing themselves as those who have it all or those who will lord it over all other people. I know Donald Trump today, as it were, will be unstable in the sense that if these countries that they have, even Tehran, Iran is equally there attending the meeting. Iran is attending the meeting too. So Donald Trump will be unstable because these are countries who have, how do I put it, their leaders have a kind of a volatile nature, especially North Korea, Tehran, Iran, all these are, and even Russia with Putin. These are persons who their attitudes are, tend towards violence at any point in time. So I know Donald Trump will be unstable, having this people coming together to meet Jinping in China, a man who for decades has been able to amass so much weaponry for his country and has done well, as it were.
Before calling to a wrap on this show, let's get to hear from Honorable Paul Ogido. Does it now mean that U.S. is beginning to lose grip of the world, or they have lost grip of the world already? Seeing the likes of Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Narendra Modi, you just name it, coming together. It is the beginning of the end of the dominance of U.S. in the world.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that the U.S. has lost grip of the world order at the moment, but that will depend on how much these nations, China, Russia, and India and other nations coming together now, are able to push through with this agenda. This agenda is a beautiful one. This agenda will go a long way to be of great help to Africa. I am specific about Africa because the West have always been the only source, and they take hold of that you don't have anywhere to go, you don't have anywhere else to look at apart from us, the West. With this kind of arrangement, it will now be easy for some of the African nations and other nations that have been under the whims and caprices of America to be able to, express themselves in a way they ought to, because this will serve as an alternative. If you can't give me food, like my friend there said, John will give me. If Peter refused to give me food and John is ready to give it to me, Peter, why not go with your food? Mr. John is here to feed me. I will not be hungry even if you refuse to give to me. So providing alternative to what the Americans have done over the decades is something that is quite appreciable. And I want to pray that they are able to push through with this. And I know that with the way it's going, many other nations are going to join them up. And that will go a long way to give them more edge over what America is doing to the world today. America is not helping the world, if you ask me, because the bullying is just too excessive.
All right, thank you so much. That is his last line on this particular discussion. As you can see, our time is up. Thank you so much, Honorable Paul Ogido Ige. We see for your wonderful opinion. Well, Honorable Frank Amigo, I appreciate you. I know you have so much, but our time is up. Barrister Henry was, thank you so much. Well,
Thank
the
you.
meeting is on right
Happy
now.
birthday to the great Isama of the world.
All right. Yes, well, happy birthday to, enigma of our time, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Saro Igbeneghu. Yes, coming 11th of September, he will turn 91. Celebration all along. Well, US is watching. France is watching. Italy is watching. UK is even watching. Israel, they are watching. Have they really succeeded in polarizing the world? Because right now, believe it or not, is that we're having just two factions. One for the US, one not for the US. I don't want to use the word against, but not for the US. We'll do it again next week Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.